Hi guys, we are on a roll with Olivia Rivers, Tone Deaf. We are on chapter 11, which is now Jace's perspective. So what is currently happening in the story is, if you haven't listened for a little bit, is that Allie, just accepted Jace's offer to go with him and finish the tour, which is just crazy. I'm trying to get it a little bit lighter in here so that it stops saying that it's, night sight, but it doesn't want to. I don't know. Anyway, let's get reading. This is not some good for you guys, you know? This is a very short chapter, and it's starting on page 85. She's what? From across the RV's small living room, Arrow stares at me with his eyes squinting in disbelief. His mouth quirks into a half smile. He's hoping what I said is a joke, but it's not. She's coming with us, I repeat. I turn in my chair and pretend to be busy clicking through some music downloads, trying to look as casual as possible. Maybe if I approach this like it's a completely normal subject, then Arrow will believe it's normal. And maybe I'll start believing it too. Yeah, right. It's pretty obvious Allie somehow broke my brain, and it's going to take more than a little pretending to fix it. I stare out the window above my desk, watching the sunrise. Maybe this was the best time to tell Arrow. It's barely 8 o'clock, and no one in the band is ever happy after waking up early. But Allie will be here in just a couple hours, and that means telling the others about her can't wait. Arrow sighs and runs a hand through his hair twice. It's a good thing he wears the I just rolled out of bed style, or else his hair would be a mess, and Killer's fashion radar would go off and wake him up. Killer's asleep on the couch, his head in Arrow's lap and his mouth lolled open. He really should be awake for this conversation, but I know better than to try rousing Killer when he's napping off a hangover. You're serious? Arrow asked me, a little too loudly. Killer stirs, his glasses slipping off his nose and clattering to the floor. He mumbles something in his sleep and nuzzles closer to his boyfriend. Arrow doesn't notice any of this. He's gawking at me like I announced I'm pregnant. Oh, come on, dude, I mutter. It's not that shocking. Arrow shakes his head and laces his fingers behind his head like he's trying to keep from exploding. But she's deaf. I know. You publicly gave her the finger. No, 2 fingers. I know. And now she's suddenly tagging along all the way to New York? I already told you, yes, she's coming, and no, you're not going to change my mind. Arrow pinches the bridge of his nose as if he thinks he can physically hold back a headache. This is a bad idea, Jace. No, a terrible one. Inviting an underage girl to travel along with us. Heck, are you trying to get us arrested? It's not like anything is going to happen between us. This is about her helping her and nothing else. She's in trouble. Arrow groans. Did you knock her up or something? Of course not, I snap. Arrow gives me a disbelieving look and crosses his arms over his chest. Great. Every second I stay silent, his suspicions are just going to get bigger. I shake my head and quietly say, she's being abused. Honestly, I don't know much about it, but she's got bruises all over. That's why I offered to help her get away. How old is she exactly? Arrow demands, although he speaks slower, like he's finally starting to consider what I'm saying. 17. Then she shouldn't have any trouble getting away on her own. She said her dad's a police chief. According to her, he won't just let her escape. Arrow throws his hands in the air. Are you hearing yourself? She says, according to her, how do you know this girl isn't just some rabid fan who's lying to you? I cross my arms over my chest, mimicking Arrow's defensive position. Well, for one, she's deaf. We have deaf fans. Seriously, rabid deaf fans. Arrow looks away and mutters something but doesn't bother with a real argument. An awkward silence passes, filled only with both our heavy breaths and Killer's quiet snores. Then I hesitantly say, it's just a couple of months, Arrow. Arrow scoffs. Jace, thousands of girls attend our concerts every year. I'm sure lots of them have abusive boyfriends or families. What makes this one girl so special? Because she's... I trail off, not wanting to make what's on the tip of my tongue. Not wanting to say what's on the tip of my tongue. Because she looks like me. That look in her eyes of the fear and anger and self-loathing is the same one I see every time I glance in the mirror. Well, the same one I used to see. All there's now is the blank stare I've mastered over the years. But Allie hasn't mastered that expression, because she hasn't escaped yet. Because I haven't helped yet. Arrow raises an eyebrow at me. What? Because she what? Because I know she's in trouble, I snap. I know that look. You know that look. He flinches too. We avoid each other's eyes for a long moment, as we were both afraid we'll see the past reflected there. Fine, Arrow finally says, his words emerging slowly. The deaf girl can come. Her name is Allie, I correct. I don't like how my bandmates have taken to calling her the deaf girl, especially since I think that they picked up the habit from me. But I was wrong to even ever call her that. She's more than just a girl, more than a deaf person. She's a person with a name, someone who lives and breathes and feels. Whatever. Allie can come. Arrow points an accusing finger at me, but if she messes things up, I'm blaming you. We'll all blame you. I take full responsibility, I say. Good, Arrow. Then Arrow frowns. We're leaving in just a couple hours. When is she going to join us? She's meeting me at 10, but as far as anyone else knows, she's not going to be here at all. This is between you and me and the band. No one else can know. Arrow stares at me blankly for a long moment. Then he shakes his head and says, She's in deep, isn't she? I mean, it's not like we've never broken the law before, but this is different. Yeah, I know. But she needs help, and I'm not just going to ditch her. Arrow nods slowly and chews at his lip, considering this. Then he asks, Does Tony know about this? Tony would never let her come. He'd be too worried it would cause a publicity scandal. So then he doesn't know. No. Arrow stands up and gently clasps his hands on my shoulder. I flinch at the unwelcome warmth of his hand, but for once I don't pull back. You realize Tony would be right, don't you, Arrow says. If someone figures out you're hiding away an underage girl in your RV, it'll cause a scandal for sure. The media isn't going to care that you're barely a year older than her. They'll label you as an adult and her as a little girl, and your reputation will be ruined. I know. And you're still sure you want her to come? Totally and completely sure. He nods and lets his hand fall away. Then just let me know how I can help. That is the end. Guys, I was trying and failing to choose Arrow's voice during that chapter, because I'm like, should I make it high? Should I make it just chill? Because I kind of want to go with like John's voice chill, but they're never really going to be in the same room through the book, so I'm like, Killer has like a higher British accent, and Allie has like a lower British accent. Jace has like a deeper, gravelly kind of voice I'm kind of giving him. Allie's dad has a deeper voice. Avery kind of has like a lower, just like very loud, energetic, girly voice. And then I'm just like, John and Arrow might have like the same, just like chill. Arrow's might be a little higher, John's might be a little lower. So like, it's really hard to hear the difference between, because Arrow isn't exactly gay, so I don't want to give him like a gay voice, really. I don't mean to like be rude to anyone out there that's gay. I'm just saying that like, I don't know if I should have him like, because that's kind of how Killer is, but like Arrow I kind of just see as like my type voice, like, dude, like it's okay, like kind of just like girlier, I guess, but like not. I don't know how to explain that, and it sounds kind of rude, so I'm just gonna be done. And so thanks for joining me for the 11th chapter, which was from Jace's perspective. So we will be starting chapter 12 from Allie's perspective on page 90. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye for now.